Hello and welcome to the first episode of my new RimWorld series. Today we will start building an Imperium outpost with our 4 starting Space Marines. I want to introduce you to this handsome man. They are monthly as rocks and clad in beautiful and strong armor. It is also worth noting that their weapons were created by some of the most skilled gunsmiths of the Empire, because our fighters need only the best weapons to carry out the tasks. Today, they had another dangerous and very difficult adventure. Build a military base, or as it can be called, an outpost of the Empire, which will serve to prepare the territory for the landing of the main forces, which will already be engaged in the further expansion of the planet. Make yourself a couple of sandwiches and some tea. You're on the Johny Play channel and here we go. Our fighters landed near an abandoned settlement, which is very suitable as a home for the first time. But I also want to clarify that the settlement was abandoned for a reason. The main reason were the giant beetles that came to this area and forced its inhabitants to flee as soon as possible. In general, it will not be a problem for our fighters to destroy these monsters. Giant beetles attacked and fell one by one from the hail of bullets that flew into them and easily destroyed their armor. At some point, I noticed that an incredibly large combat beetle tank attacked. And if our fighters were not armed with a heavy machine gun and an anti-material rifle, then most likely we would not be very lucky. But in the end, all the enemies were knocked to the ground and those who still showed any sign of life were killed in cold blood by our fighters. Immediately after clearing the area, we occupied some building and settled our fighters in different rooms so that the enemy could not come by surprise and destroy everyone with one shot. We also very quickly rebuilt a large building just above the settlement and made it a temporary warehouse for resources. Later, it became clear that we are too unprotected and we need to build at least some walls. That's what we did, and taking into account the condition of the area and certain advantages that the local mountains gave us, we built something similar to wooden walls like in ancient settlements. Immediately after that, we began to sow the field where we will grow rice to feed our soldiers, because we cannot yet build a refrigerator, and rice is a plant that can be stored raw for up to 40 days, which is very convenient. Also, for certain automation of our defense, we built a small kill box that can hold back or at least injure small groups of raiders. By the way, the first victim didn't have to wait long. Small dinosaurs fell right into our trap. It's probably worth turning it into a nutritious meal. Next, the construction of our main underground base began, which will become the basis of the future command center for our main forces that will land to capture the planet. The first attack by the raiders. And as you might have guessed, our killbox showed itself at 100%. One raider fell into a trap and his friend ran away like a cowardly girl. I hope that after some time he will bring his friends and also run away when they are all showered with a hail of our bullets. By the way, I decided that it would be a good decision to build a cemetery right before the entrance to the killbox as a kind of act of intimidating the enemies. Meanwhile, the construction of the underground base is in full swing, and I think we'll be moving inside by the end of the first episode. And we also collected the first rice harvest. I hope that it will be enough for us to grow some more of these wonderful ingredients for delicious dishes. After the kill box was dug in a cave, the fighters began to dig the main room from which all the other rooms will go. Unexpectedly, the incredible heat began, and I believe that I really started working on this cave in time. because it will make it possible to make a room with an acceptable temperature without spending resources on air conditioners and other means of cooling. To do this, it will be enough to build several walls, each of which will let in less and less hot air, which combined with the natural coolness of the cave will allow my colonists to survive this stage of their survival. Another raid, one of the attackers even set fire to one of our walls, but after that immediately went to assault our kill box. To my surprise, the enemies were able to bypass my traps and go deep into the base. But here they were already waiting for two of my fighters who made the raiders understand that it was a big mistake. An Imperial shuttle called for help. It went down not far from our walls and survivors needed protection from the raiders until a rescue shuttle arrived to pick them up. We couldn't refuse, besides we didn't mind dismantling the fallen shuttle down to the cook and taking all the useful materials for ourselves. To help, I sent two soldiers who were able to intercept the raiders on the approach and put them back on the run with several volleys of rifles. Later, the rescue shuttle took away our guests, and we calmly took our reward in the form of the crashed shuttle. By the way, the heat is over. Now you can go about your business again without fears that someone will die from heat stroke. Another interesting raid. And the fact is that after the raiders came to our map, they did not attack for a while, but were preparing for an assault. And at the same moment, guests, who were my allies, came to my map. When both sides of the conflict met, a fight began. One of the guests surprised me when he killed the raider with one skillful shot, but then disappointed me when he accidentally left his friend without a head with the same skillful shot. But in general, everything ended with the raiders escaping, so it's really good ending. It's time to expand our cave. I decided to add another room in which I plan to make a workshop and also need to finally build a refrigerator in order to stop worrying about the deadlines for our food. At some point, friendly merchants came to our map, and at the moment, one of the dinosaurs decided to go crazy and passing through our kill box attacked the merchants who were within our walls at the moment. A huge lizard even knocked one of the guests to the ground, which allowed me to slightly increase the relations with the fraction of this trade caravan by saving the same guests. His friends went on, and we promised that we would restore the wounded man and send him home. Another raid. This time we were attacked by a larger than usual group of enemies, but this time they decided to give up and start to run away in the kill box. I don't see anything wrong. Saving ammunition won't hurt us. I plan to add 4 more solar panels to the ones that was already there from the start and run electricity inside the cave so that we can install lights and also run our fridge. Another raid. But this time we were attacked by a swarm of insectoids. The main problem was that they attacked at night, and because of their black color we could hardly see who to shoot at. But in general everything went as it should. The bulk of the beetles were knocked down in the kill box, and only a heavy beetle tank reached our soldiers, which had already received a full range of all types of weapons available to us. One of our fighters was attacked by a hungry dinosaur, while he was on a mission outside our walls. The main problem was that the fighter was armed with a sniper rifle and shot too slowly. Also, he could not knock down the dinosaur with the first shot. And when the monster was already in the meter from our fighter, the Space Marine was still able to destroy the enemy with one more powerful shot. By the way, the refrigerator is completely ready, which also really good. All that remains is to build a wall that will protect the ventilation of the refrigerator from enemies accessing it. Gradually, we made the walls in the cave more beautiful, and thanks to this, we removed the debuffs that give ordinary raw cave walls. Of course, we could just smooth the cave walls instead of replacing them, but that would take too long and have no significant advantages over normal stone walls. A colonist fell from the sky. He was an excellent farmer, doctor and scientist, but he did not have enough combat experience. In general, the protocol prohibits allowing ordinary civilians to carry out combat tasks. But in this case, all fighters agree that this particular colonist will not interfere with us at all. As soon as we have contact with the headquarters, we will need to report and request permission for replenishment of our squad by this colonist. It is worth noting that now the colonist is suffering from paralysis. Again the attack of the rangers, and again our fighters could not feel the taste of using weapons, because the enemy was again stuck in the kill box. We began to dig a warehouse for resources inside the cave, because it is already quite inconvenient for us to go outside every time in order to take some resources. The second dinosaur had joined us. We didn't do anything for him, he just decided that he was ready to become part of our squad. In general, I don't mind it. It will come in handy if we are attacked by enemies with guns or other dinosaurs, or for example bugs dig a passage in our cave and our brave dinosaurs destroy all the monsters. Meanwhile, a large amount of resources have already been transferred to the cave, and we can say that soon we will be able to completely abandon our first base from the outside. And now, it is the end of the first episode of our series about Space Marines in RimWorld. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe, comment the video and watch other videos on my channel. Johny was with you. Goodbye.